Well, hello, and welcome back to another scary episode of Ghost Stories Told from the South. I am your host, Stephen LeBooth, and I got some creepy stuff for you today. Alright, guys, got some good stuff for you, some more roads in England. This will probably be wrapping up the road stories, and then I'll just start going on to something else. Well, I take that back. This episode isn't about roads. It's about haunted. God dang it, haunted schools in the UK in that area. Figured I would do that, and then next week I'll just start doing something else. Start talking about some other scary stuff somewhere. So, yeah, boy. I just have to go back and look at my research, see what I've talked about and what I haven't. But I'm pretty sure there's stuff all around the world I can talk about. I might start doing that for next couple episodes because I like looking for stuff around the world too. So if you got any stories, guys, please tell me about them. Get a hold of me on my DMs on Ghost Stories Told from the South on Facebook. And my email is all lowercase, ghost stories told from the south at gmail.com, guys. Sure would appreciate it. Want to say thank you for the numbers. The show keeps growing. And I just want to say thanks so much. Well, I guess without further ado, we'll start that scary stuff. So sit back, relax, grab you a nice blankie, cuddle up to the fire, get you some hot cocoa, and get you some whatever you like to drink and poke that fire a little bit and get ready. Oh, and sorry I'm coming on late this morning. They've been laying some new internet wires in the ground, and it's been kind of fucking up with my signal and stuff here. So, but everything's back to par now on this end. They've got all that done, so it should be okay. Next Saturday, this will be coming out at 3 a.m. like it normally does. But without further ado, my ladies and gentlemen, here's some scary stories. All right, we're going to talk about the Rigid School Museum. Oh, my notes are fucking mixed up. I don't know how I did that. Okay, here we go. The Rigid School Museum, or the Ragged School, has been a long and carefully history. Originally opened by Dr. Barnardo in 1867. Dr. Barnardo came over to London from Ireland in 1866. And when he arrived, he was greeted by streets of poverty-stricken chicken. Okay. Disease and overcrowding were severe. The prospects for the poor didn't exist. The lack of opportunities for the poor hit Dr. Barnardo hard. While in his training to be a doctor, he witnessed the big cholera outbreak sweep through London. So he quit his training to become a missionary. In 1867, he was in 1867 was when he opened his first ragged school. It offered children the opportunity of a free education, food, and a roof over their heads. These schools were opened in 1871 when Dr. Barnardo converted three warehouse buildings making the Copperfield Road Rigid School the largest in London. The school was closed in 1906 as government school began to open in the area, which would serve the local communities. After the school closed, its building was used as a warehouse that held goods ready for the transport along the Regent's Canal. It was then later rescued and restored by the Ragged School Museum Trust, which communities to take care of the building. The Ragged School Museum in London is renowned for being the most haunted school in Britain. Ghost hunters regularly say it's the most haunted building they have ever investigated. The Ragged School was set up to educate the poorest children from the East End. The treatment of these children during the time period was incredibly harsh. The spirits of these children are believed to haunt the building to this day. There are countless strange occurrences reported by staff and visitors alike. Some reports include poltergeist activity, dark shadows, figures, disembodied voices, and even full-bodied apparitions. You may feel the sinister presence that lurks in the back of groups throughout the building. You might also hear the sounds of laughing and crying coming from the empty rooms. Disembodied running footsteps, bangs, doors, slams reverberate around its forbidden building. If you're in the basement, you may come face to face with a dark, lonely figure who likes to appear when you least expect it. There has also been regular sightings of balls of light appearing in the darkness corners of the empty rooms. Without a doubt, the Ragged School Museum is one of the most haunted locations in London. So, if anybody's got any information about that or has been there, tell me about it. All my friends that listen to this podcast over there in the UK, please tell me. Please tell me. All right, let's see. Our next story is the Old Victorian School in Long Eaton, Nottinghamshire. I hope I said that right. The Old Victorian School in Nottingham. Okay, what does it say Nottinghamshire here in Nottingham? Okay, is a building with a difference. Its calm exterior defies the terrifying activity that we have experienced on ghost hunts here. A sinister presence that lurks in the darkness of the main corridor has frightened staff and guests alike, and door handles have been rattled with nobody on the other side. An overnight ghost hunt on the Old Victorian School came to be a frightening experience, so make sure you have wits about you as you join us for the ghost hunt. You will soon forget you have been warned. Reports of objects being moved, bangs on the tables, and even sinister figure that moves along the main corridor. This is what awaits you on an overnight ghost hunt at the Old Victorian School. Members of the staff report being watched from corners, and things regularly go missing, only to turn up in a completely different area. Join Haunted Happenings for a ghost hunt at the Old Victorian School and see why this haunted school deserves its reputation as a frightening place for overnight ghost hunts. The calm and uneasy appearance of the Old Victorian School hides a sinister and abrasive atmosphere within. Intense paranormal activity has been experienced here and has left some people absolutely terrified and too afraid to continue. This former Victorian school was built in the late 1800s, probably to educate the children of the families who worked in the local lace mills, and is now used as a conference center. It still houses its original haunted classrooms, and there have been numerous reports of sightings and experiences by staff and even during the daytime. People have reported hearing noises from the empty rooms and even seeing shadow figures in the long corridor. It is thought that an old dim school existed in Long Easton prior to 1826. In which year the old village school was built in the marketplace at a cost of £250. This building was built until the National School was built on the corner of Clay Street. This opened in 1862. The original village school was a small two-room building built of brick with tiled roof and has a Church of England school. Supported by volunteers and contributions, the new national school was built on land given by Mr. S. J. Glaya of the Wagon Works. It was not many years afterwards that the Long Easton School Board was set up under the Education Act of 1870. The board was confronted with the task of making immediate provisions for a great number of children who were not attending any schools whatsoever. In 1876, the high school was built with 3 separate departments, one for boys, another for girls, and another for infants. It was built to cater for 600 children, but owing to the rapidly rising population, it was soon too small and others followed quickly. The High Street School was the first council school in the town. The first headmaster and first headmistresses of the school were Mr. and Mrs. J.W. Chambers, and when the Tomworth Road schools were built, they were appointed as the new head teachers there. Before long, the High Street became overwhelmed, and it was only 6 years after opening that the additional accommodations had to be found for the children at the Barnard Church Sunday School. The temporary accommodations were provided until 1886, when the Derby Road School was built. This also created for boys and girls and infants in separate departments. In 1901, the boys' department were brought from block of classrooms facing Stanholm Street, and then the building, which had until the contained 3 departments, was converted for the use of girls and infants. The boys housed in the new building with swimming baths and rooms above in the 1920s Crockery Center, which had existed there before. So if you ever are around this one, come talk to me about it. Tell me about it. Yeah, this one, remember, was the old Victorian school in Long Eaton. So, like I said, any of my people over there, friends that listen to this podcast, shoot me, like I said, get into my DMs, send me an email, tell me some of this creepy stuff y'all have over there, and I'll talk about it. All right, our next story is Our next story is the University College in London. Okay, you would think that having the dead body of a university founder dressed in on display would be the spookiest thing about UCL. But UCL is full of surprises. We all know the circumstances is creepy with all the sleep deprived medicads wandering around like zombies, but there is in fact a more terrifying presence wandering the halls, a ghost of medic. The legend goes that a young med student, Emma Lewis, was brutally murdered at UCL and that she haunts the halls. The story goes if you say her name 3 times, she will appear. Emma Lewis is thought to have been a med student at UCH back when it was located in the circus firm building. The story says that when the circus firm was a hospital, there were underground tunnels which connected it with the other buildings around the campus. Every day, Emma Lewis used to walk through the tunnels to get from the hospital to her rooms in the Arthur Tandershaw Hall. But one day she never came to work. She was found on the floor of the tunnel, dead. Over the years, a number of students living in Arthur Tattersall have become curious about their paranormal roommate. In 2004, a group of students decided to summon her by calling her name 3 times. This event is recorded on the paranormal database. The students decided one night to summon Emma Lewis for a bit of a laugh, but it didn't turn out like they had planned. After saying Emma Lewis's name 3 times, the students started to hear laughter. At first, they just thought it was one of their friends laughing. But as the laughter continued, it became clearer and clearer that no one in their group was laughing. The students searched everywhere but could not find the source of the noise. The sound of a young girl's voice continued internally throughout the night. Out of fear, the group decided to move into a friend's room, but they could still hear the sounds of a girl's voice. A couple of nights after this, they found the door of their room open, with no words, "Help me," "Die," "Murder," "Rest in peace" painted across the wall. Even though there have been sightings, the story of Emma Lewis's ghost is not well known around campus. Emily Gould, who studies human science, former student rep of Arthur Tattersall Hall, said that she hadn't heard about it and had no idea. Perhaps she'd been sharing accommodations with a ghost without even knowing it. Declan Pollard, who studies history, whose residence is next to the Arthur Tattersall, knows about Emma Lewis. He found out about her online before coming to UCL. After a few months living in the halls, he says he still feels nervous whenever he goes to the basement on his own. Despite rumors and legends, the UCL campus shows very little signs of paranormal activity or secrets underground tunnels. The most terrifying presence on campus continues to be the living, sleep, walking medics. Well, that sounds like a pretty weird place. So, like I said, guys, talk to me. Tell me if y'all know about this. Now, these next couple of stories are kind of shorties. So, just bear with me, ladies and gents. But we're going to get ready for the next story. Our next story brings us to Halsham House in Hull, England. The Hull East Riding of Yorkshire. The Halsham House was established as a school in 1584 under the terms of the will of Sir John Constable, who provided for 8 boys. Sir John's wife, Catherine, contributed an endowment for an Oxford scholarship. It provided education for the village until 1947. People have reported the feeling that someone is watching their every move in parts of the house, periodically, powerfully on the stairs. Elsewhere in the house, a friendly but shy ghost figure has been seen in this sighting room. It's believed that spirit could be that of a child, perhaps one of the young boys that attended the school, and still thinks that Halsham House was his home. When the house underwent some restoration in the 1970s, small bones were found in the attic. No one is sure of the origin or what they are, human remains or animal bones. But some believe that these bones could point to the history of witchcraft, as people used bones to protect their homes. Creepy. All right, our next school is the University of St. Andrews. The oldest of the 4 ancient... Okay. The oldest of the 4 ancient universities of Scotland is said to be haunted by several ghosts, including the spirit of a monk, a piper, and even a ghost ship. One of the best known spooks is the White Lady. Oh my God, another White Lady. Why is it always the White Lady, the lady in white? There's never a gray lady or a lady in black, really. It's always white. Who is thought to be the servant of Mary, Queen of Scots. It's said that she died of a broken heart after her lover was beheaded. A fate mourning that of Mary Stuart, the woman's ghost is now said to wander around the tower in part of the ruined abbey at night. So this girl, if you go to St. Andrews, this girl haunts the place. All right, our next story is the Old Grammar School in Derby, UK. I hope I'm saying these places right, and I hope I'm doing it right. The Old Grammar School is now a hair salon and was once Derby Heritage Center. But it started its life in 1554 as a boys' grammar school and is built on the old plague pit. One of the most common ghost sightings here is that of a little boy who has been seen upstairs in the dormitories and wears a leather waistcoat and has blonde hair. It's been claimed that he wanders around the dormitories and has been seen walking through the walls. That would creep me the hell out right there. If I seen a ghost and then all of a sudden, bye, it went through the door. I mean, just walked through the wall. That would be some crazy stuff. Crazy. Okay. You ready for our next? Yeah, I told you these are going to be some short ones, so I'll be spitting them out fast. Our next story is the Black Country Living opened in 1878. In 1978. Much of the site is said to be haunted, including the schoolhouse. The museum celebrates Black Country's important role in the Industrial Revolution as one of the greatest iron producers in the world. Most of the buildings on site have been rebuilt here, having moved brick by brick from across the area. Visitors and staff have reported a wide range of paranormal activity at the museum, including strange noises, the sound of footsteps, and the voices of children in the old schoolhouse. This site is said to be the home of 4 apparitions. The school made it into celebrating ghost hunters. Viet Fielding's 10 Scariest Moments from the television show Most Haunted. Her and her team investigated the school building in 2015. And at one point, Yvette and her husband, Carl Beatty, were given the fright of their lives when they carried out a visual in a pitch black classroom. The pair experienced furniture moving in front of their eyes, and even the bench they were sitting on moved beneath them. Yvette spoke about the experience after shooting the episode. It was extraordinary. I was scared, but at the same time mesmerized. This is a very active place that is haunted. However, it is not negative. It's my belief that they're children who simply want to play. That sounds like a creepy place too, so like I said, man, if y'all know anything about these places, tell me. Excuse me. All right. Our next story is of, if I screwed its name up, I'm very sorry. The Lafanlin Union Warehouse. Along its property is technically a workhouse set up to house the poor and those who could not support themselves in the community until the 1930s. It also had school faculties. In fact, the standard of education at this particular warehouse was exponentially high. An 1848 report stated that the warehouse children made better progress with their education than free schoolers at the other local schools. The union workers, which has slowly been developed into a community center, is said to be haunted by the spirit of the schoolmaster. Which, in other words, the schoolmaster, that's like our version of a principal. In 1848, okay, I would have said that. The Union Workhouse, which is slowly developed into a community, is said to be haunted by the spirits of a schoolmaster. The schoolmaster most frequently seen in the building's centerpiece, an area which originally is private quarters. So originally, this place where he's haunting was his private quarters, because back then a lot of them lived there at the school too. It is often seen looking out of the windows where he would have once been able to oversee the workhouse for recreation yards. Visitors have reported hearing footsteps, doors slamming, children crying, and the ghostly cries and shrieks of classrooms full of children. There has also been claims of shadow figures and even a full-body apparition of an old schoolmaster who is said to haunt the building. Pretty interesting. Okay, now we're ready for our last and final story. This one will be pretty good. Pretty. It's kind of long, but not real long. Our last story is the Bishton Hall. Prepare to embark on a spine-tingling experience as you enter this forbidden and mysterious Bishton Hall in the heart of Staffordshire. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I'm probably fucking it up, and if I am, I'm very sorry. This Grade 2 listed building, now owned by none other than Charles Henson of bargain hunt fame, is not for the faint of heart. The ghost and spirits of those who have long since passed dwell within these walls. Are you ready to take on the challenge of overnight ghost hunt within its sprawling mansion? The very thought of this is even enough to make your blood run cold. Those brave enough will uncover these secrets within the dark, mysterious cellars, servants' living quarters, and eerie temple. The haunting presence of Charlton Spyro, a spinster who inherited the house from her father. Oh, Charlotte Sparrow. Or Sparrow. Anyways. Sinister, okay, and other sinister dawning tales will leave you trembling with fear as you explore the many hidden rooms and shadowed corners of the hall. And let us forget the pet cemetery, where beloved pets dating back to 1891 I have been laid to rest, or that's where they have been laid to rest. It's as if the animals who once roamed these grounds cannot escape the haunting grip of the hall. As you creep through the dark and the forbidding corridors of the hall, you'll feel an eerie presence, as if unseen eyes are watching your every move. This feeling is all too familiar to those who have dared to venture here before. For the paranormal activity within these walls is beyond anything you could ever imagine. These sounds of footsteps echoing in the dead of night, in the faint voice of children emerging from the empty bedrooms, in the hair-raising sensation of being watched by an unseen force as just the tip of the iceberg. You may even encounter the apparition of a woman who beckons you from the entrance of the building, or witnessing doors opening and closing by themselves, as if some invisible hand was moving it. You'll have the chance to participate in various experiments designed to uncover the mysteries within its haunted walls, from which and what values the class moving. Ouija boards. Okay. I'm going to say this. Don't fuck with Ouija boards, man. Please don't. Don't think, oh, I can use this to talk to the dead. Because sometimes the person you think you're talking to isn't. Bad spirits and demons, or whatever you want to call them, can can make you believe you're talking to the person you think you are, but really you're talking to it's a demon or whatever. So please, very cautionally, with them Ouija boards. I won't fuck with them at all. I won't even have one in my goddamn house because just creepy shit happens. But I trust you guys. Okay, Ouija boards and table tipping. And you'll have access to the latest electronic paranormal equipment to aid in your quest for answers. Are you brave enough to spend a long night in the haunted bedrooms, or venture into the dark in the Omnia cellar for a Ouija board seance? Only the bravest must determine the ghost hunters dare to face such a challenge. Well, guys, sounds like here this place provides all the equipment, and you can stay the night, and they show you how to ghost hunt. There's a place in my small town of a place called the House on Haunted Hill, and that motherfucker is haunted like crazy. It's been in a couple of shows. Like, I know it's been in that one of Ozzy Osbourne's son, Jack Osbourne. He's done a show here. I can't remember the other one, but it's very haunted. And that's one thing I'm wanting to do and I'm going to do. I'm going to save up my money, though, and we're going to do a podcast live there one night. So it ought to be fun. But anyways, I'm glad you guys listened. Glad you guys came along for the show. Sorry if they were little too short, but hey. But next week we'll have some new stuff to go over. Not going to be doing schools. Only reason I did schools is because, first week of school in places. So I did that. But next week will be good. Will be great. Thank you guys so much. And please, please tell your friends about it and help my show grow. Please pass the word. And I know my reading sucks sometimes, but I'm going to keep doing it. And if that's the only reason you don't like my show because of my dyslexia, no reading ass, well, that sucks. But I hope you guys tell your friends about it. Help my show grow. I'd appreciate it. And until next Saturday, guys, hey, I love you, man. And maybe tonight, if I'm not doing nothing, about 10 o'clock, I might get on here and on the YouTube and do a live show. Follow me on Facebook, guys. Ghost Stories Told from the South. That's when I'll get on there and say when I'm going to go live and stuff. And, yeah. Just thank you, guys. Go check out my YouTube channel, Channel 2. I've got to put this episode and last episode up there to get it updated. But go check it out. My numbers there are doing great, too. Just want to say thank you, guys. And guess what? Freaking Halloween's around the corner, man. 70 days! 70! Woo! I can't wait. Well, that's till Halloween. But I celebrate Halloween the whole month of October, so we got less than 70 days. August is fixing to be done. Fixing to be in September. And then October, baby. Woo! Can't wait, can't wait, can't wait. Well, until then, guys, we will see you later. Be good, be real, and be scary, my friends. We'll see you later. Love you guys, and thank you for the support. And like I said, tell your friends about it. But we'll holler at you later, guys. Be good and be scary.